Morning, James.
Morning, Adam.
Jack McCourt, Joel Taylor, are they available for selection this weekend?
Jack McCourt, no. Joel Taylor, yes.
So 50% on the positive injury news.
Yeah, and obviously Gavin Gunning's making good progress as well. Jack Clark's 50-50. He picked up a little slight hamstring as well on Tuesday, which is fatigue really more than anything because obviously he hasn't played a lot of minutes, and I think the intensity of the two games has taken its toll, and he had to come off. He came off at the right time, so to make sure there was no major pull, but unfortunately that's had a knock-on effect the last 2 days of training. So we'll see how he is overnight and whether he comes into my selection process tomorrow morning.
Yeah, because it's going to be key to manage him and others with the workload of the games, isn't it? Particularly how well he's been performing recently.
Yeah, we've identified this home game against Weymouth as the last of this passage of games, if that makes sense, this last group of games. And then obviously it eases off a little bit over the next couple of weeks because we've been fortunate that we were supposed to play Dover on the bank holiday Monday. So, no, we're in good spirits for this game. Like I said, it's the last one of this batch of games, if you like. And then we can obviously patch a few up after Saturday's game.
Back-to-back away wins and clean sheets, the perfect response to back-to-back defeats for you.
It wasn't it? Yeah, we're more than happy with the two clean sheets. Deserved two clean sheets as well. Minimal shots on our goal really in the two games. Comfortable without the ball in the second half against Aldershot. They obviously threw everything forward from deep areas, long balls. We had to defend, long throw-ins, but we've done it very well. Other than obviously Hayden's header that I lost a bit of hair on in the game, we were more than comfortable.
What were the most sort of pleasing aspects about the game in midweek at Aldershot? By all accounts, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest game of football.
I think first half we played very well. In my self-reflection straight after the game, I thought we bossed the first half technically, and I was right when I watched it back. Good passages, opened up the pitch, gotten some really good opportunities, and our final ball or final decision wasn't correct, but still good enough to get the 1-0 at half time. And second half, it was a bombardment of long balls, wasn't it? But I think the three centre-backs plus the goalie dealt with it very well, and the two wing-backs as well included in that. I thought we defended that really well, and picking up the second balls, Curtis and Martin done very well on. So nitpicking really could have countered better. There was open spaces, big spaces on the transition. We could have maybe punished them and got 2 or 3, but we didn't quite do that. Our final decision, like I said, or final ball wasn't there in the second half. However, you can control a game without the ball. You can have momentum in a game without a ball, and I think we showed that. We were more than comfortable in the evening.
Clearly some fantastic scenes at full time, and winning more than losing will help. But how have you managed to create such a close bond already within the squad in only just a few months?
Well, if you cast your mind back to my early days in my tenure, I was talking about the right characters, recruiting the right human beings to come into the building. And when you do that, you can quickly build momentum because everyone's obviously on the same page. And when you have a common goal, which we have, and we have common medium-term objectives in the change room and also from the board down, it's very transparent. Then you can start building towards something together, staff included. So we've got that, and like I've said, it's taken us a bit by surprise that we've got an opportunity this year. We obviously coming in second from bottom, we didn't expect to be in this position. We are, and I think everyone's enjoying it.
One of those sort of characters, well, a number of characters were already at the club, really, James, but news this morning of a new deal for Hayden Hollis. How richly deserved is that for how he's performed under you?
Very deserved. He's been immense, hasn't he? But the biggest test was when he came out the squad completely. Probably undeserved, but we had to freshen it up, and we got 2 back-to-back clean sheets and 2 wins when he came out, which shows the strength and depth we've got and how everybody's on board and training properly. I also mentioned that the staff are doing really well for me, topping players up, making sure they're hitting the right numbers physically when they're coming out of the team or out of the squad. The training, the intensity is important, especially for the ones that aren't playing. So when they come in or called upon, they can continue playing in the same identity of what we're trying, with the energy, with the full commitment, with the togetherness. And I think Hayden's shown that. He's probably epitomised that spirit, really.
Yeah, plenty of plaudits midweek for his performances. Is this just a case of sort of managing the squad, and every now and again you just pull somebody out and it can give them an extra push?
Of course, it has to be that way. It has to be that way. But the next 2 weeks we get a little bit of a breather after this one, and the games are less frantic on the schedule. However, after this 2 weeks again, it's all hands to the pump to the end of the season, isn't it?
Absolutely. How significant is it now to be in the top 10 of the division, clearly from where the club was when you took over?
It's an excellent achievement, but it's not where you are now, is it? It's where you are on May 29th when the season finishes. So what's been pleasing is how we've bounced back from adversity in those defeats that we've had, because you're going to get defeats and you're going to get bumps on your road individually and collectively, and to build resilience you have to bounce back quickly and know you can bounce back. I think you get confidence from those bounce backs. So we've shown that. That's been a pleasing aspect of the last month and a half. And we're in a good place now. We've got to keep maintaining this 2 points a game ratio, and we won't be far wrong.
You talked in the week about continuing to build momentum. Does the journey this season sort of give you a kind of nothing to lose mentality now from the position that you were when you started?
You could look at it like that way. Yeah, it's a good analogy, for sure. We obviously, anything above 10th would be a bonus this year, considering where we were. But it's human nature, and also society, it's instant gratification. You want everything now. You can do anything. You speak to anybody anywhere in the world of a flick of a button. And that's sometimes difficult to manage expectations, because we have to be realistic about where we've come from. However, I think that I've set a target now, a short-term target. Can we get in the top 7? Let's see where we are May the 29th.
Yeah, because another phrase to throw at you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. And if you put yourself in a good position this season, football is the way it is, and you can't turn down opportunities when they come, can you, essentially? No,
but you're putting me under pressure in this interview here now.
In part, but that's the expectation that comes with such a great run.
No, and we're loving it. We're loving it, and the messages that the players are receiving, I'm receiving, the staff are receiving from the supporters is outstanding. The togetherness after the game, it really means something to us, and we're trying our best. And if we don't make it this year, it won't be from the want of trying, I can assure you.
We've seen this week with the departures of Neil Smith at Bromley in 7th, Neil Ardley at Notts County in 6th, just how cutthroat the race for the EFL can be. Yeah,
and I said to Mike yesterday, if we get in the top 7 on Saturday, am I in trouble? Because I think it's a curse, isn't it? So I might not want to win tomorrow.
But it just shows you that the want to get out of the division, the want to become a football league club, it is tough, isn't it? And that now that you've got there, fans might think, well, Chesterfield, we are a big club, we shouldn't have been where we were, but this isn't going to be an easy ride till now at the end of the season. No way. You've got to remember that everyone has the same ambition as us in that top 10 or top 12, and they're going to have a game plan, they're going to have a structure. Like in any game, you don't have the divine right to boss every game for 90 minutes. That's just not going to happen. You have to remember the opponent has a game plan as well, and they try and exploit your weaknesses or what they perceive to be your weaknesses. And it's about managing those spells. And in the second half against Aldershot midweek, after we've gone Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, I have to commend the players for how they shut up shop, how they were so committed, high pressure in deep areas to stop deliveries, to make sure when deliveries came in we had first and second contacts. That's part of the game, and we managed that, and that's why it was such a comfortable win, because they didn't really have a shot on goal, did they, other than the mistake from Hayden. So I have to commend the lads on showing that side. So technically first half, physically second half. Weymouth up next. Of course, it was your first game in charge a few months ago. Did that win really set the tone for what was to come?
Yes, obviously we went behind as well. So talking about that resilience to come back, we've shown that straight away. And I think it was a long time since we've gone down as as a team before my tenure that we've come back and won a game. So that was important to get that little marker in the sand straight away, no doubt. Gave us confidence. I'd like to commend Weymouth, though, on things I've read about how they've acted since they've known there's no relegation, because obviously they're in that bottom bit there. Who knows what would have happened with them at the end of the season if there was relegation. I think, they're picking up form beforehand, but the way they've acted, they've continued not to follow their players and for the integrity of the league, and gone into every game so far since they've known that news with wanting to win. And I think their chairman said that they want to stay up on merit, not because of a decision from the National League. And I've got to commend that. I really have, and they're reaping the rewards of that. So I commend that. But that's enough praise for them before the game tomorrow.
Yeah, because they are, in terms of the league, they are still in a bit of a tough spot, but they have picked up. The results are a bit more mixed now since the last time that you played them. What do you make of them as a side?
I think they're trying to do the right thing, the way they're trying to play. You can see that they've got longer term objectives there, and they want to establish themselves as a National League side. I think that's probably their objectives. And they're going to come here with results against Stockport, away draw at Dagenham, and obviously a rout against Wealdstone. So they've picked up form a little bit, and they're going to have some confidence, and they're obviously going to see the surroundings and have a right go. But we've got to be ready for that, and we will be. And that's a test for us, is how we're going to control that freedom of their play and make sure that we stamp our authority on it here. I mean, we've lost only one game here since I've arrived, in a close game against Sutton, so we're full of confidence as well, so I'm sure it'll be a good game.
Because clearly any team, when they get a 4-0 victory against whoever it is, will get a bit of a bounce and a bit of a boost in confidence from that.
Yeah, of course. They've scored goals and kept a clean sheet, so yeah, of course, it's only natural. But like I said, we've trained well since Aldershot. We enjoyed the moment at the ground, on the coach. But as soon as I got off the coach, I'm thinking about, okay, how we're going to win this game on Saturday to continue our form. And I'm sure the players are on the same wavelength as me.
Have you come across Brian Stock much in your career? He's a pretty well-known face to us locally here from his time with Doncaster Rovers.
Not really. I haven't. No, the assistant there I know quite well. He's a senior lecturer at Southampton Solent Uni, Louis, and he spent some time with me at Gloucester in pre-season as well, working with us on the sports science side. He's a good guy. I'm sure Brian is as well, but I'm fully focused on what we're doing here. It'd be nice to see Louis tomorrow, but it won't stop us wanting to get the win.
Yes, the kind of game that if you are going to get promoted this season, that you feel that you want to win, obviously.
Yeah, it's we want to win our home games, don't we? Any successful team has a solid home base, and I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, and I'm sure the players are as well.
Good luck, James.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers. Thanks.
Good morning, James.
Hi, Liam.
Just on Hayden Hollis's new contract then, obviously when you came into the building he wasn't in the squad. What was it about him that you liked and made you want to put him in the team?
Well, I felt essential of the three would be with the attributes he's got, would complement that position, would complement his attributes, and I think he's shown that. I think his leadership's grown on the pitch and off the pitch, conducting himself around the environment very well. He deserves his new contract with us, and he's settled up here. So I just think it was a no-brainer, if you like, for us to offer him a new deal, and he was very quick to accept it, and we move on swiftly.
Have you been impressed just as much about him off the field than on the field as well?
I have, yeah. Like I just said, I just touched upon that. It was, I think it hit home what a great character he is, and how much he's on board with what we're doing here. When he came out of the team after a successful period, and he conducted himself really well, and fully deserves his contract.
Are you able to shed any light on how long his contract extension is?
Yeah, it's just another year. Well, not I just say just, but it's another year, and we'll review that next Christmas.
And just on the subject of contracts then, is Grant Smith the next one on your list who you might want to talk to?
Would you like him to be on our list?
I think a lot of fans would.
Well, let's just see. There's a lot happening, obviously, off the field, because we can't forget about our medium objectives as well. Like I keep saying, medium term, but the results are at the forefront. Short-term results are at the forefront of our minds because we have got an opportunity. But so do 14, 15 in the league still. So we're in the pack we have a chance, and it's so much to be excited about because we have that opportunity now, and it's been a long time since this club's had something to look forward to and look upwards to, so instead of downwards. So let's enjoy the moment as well. Let's not put too much pressure on the boys. We're showing different ways to win games, which is always good for any team because of the different challenges that this league or the teams in this league pose. Weymouth will be a very different style to Aldershot. Obviously, Aldershot were very direct. There was minimal passes made from them, and they were hitting the last line really quickly. But I think it'll be more build-up play against Weymouth. They try and build up from the back. They try and open the pitch up. But when teams have tried to do that here, they've been punished. So it'll be interesting to see how they do set up.
Is there a time scale on Jack McCourt's injury then?
Yeah, he had another setback, but we're hopeful that it won't be any longer than 2 weeks.
And the same for Gavin Gunning. Obviously, you said he's progressing. Do we have a timescale for him as well?
Yeah, good news on Gavin. He's probably slightly ahead than what we thought. We were thinking longer than 2 weeks from this period, but actually he might come into the same sort of time frame as Jack. They won't make Eastleigh, I don't think, but certainly Kingsley in the following week is a possibility.
And although he's out injured at the moment, he's been joining you at the games and on the touchline. Does that just show what he's all about?
It does. He's a big character in there. He has the same language as me, uses the same language as me. I don't want to go into too much. I've told you what type of character I think he is, and he's certainly having an imprint in the change room, but also helping Loza and Lawrence and his leadership as well. I mean, Gavin's obviously played in the Scottish Premiership, League One, League Two, and obviously in the National League regular, so he's got a lot of appearances under his belt and a lot of experiences, so that can only benefit the younger players in the group.
And just final, obviously, it's Weymouth tomorrow, which was your first match, so we've gone full circle. How soon did you know that you would need to bring in the number of players that you have done? Was that something that you identified straight away, or was it within the first few weeks? How soon did you know?
It hadn't worked. So I'm here for a reason. If it would have worked, I wouldn't be sat in front of you now. So it hadn't worked. But it wasn't just one manager it hadn't worked with. It hadn't worked with 2 or 3 with the players that were in the group. So I was probably the fourth in. And I think I knew that analysing the team before I came in for the interview, where what we needed, or what I felt we needed. We needed more athleticism, more youth, more pressure on the ball, and they were the minimum requirements, and we've sort of built from there, haven't we? We've got that right, and now we're trying to work a little bit more on our in-possession structure, short and long, open the pitch up ourselves. How can we play through, round or over better? I think that's the next stage of what we're trying to do, but pedagogy isn't easy. It's not easy as a leader. You have to take individuality into account. Jack Clark needs teaching different to a Hayden Hollis, and that's the challenge for the staff and I. And that's what we're trying to do here. And and that's the trap, you see, because you can only drip feed that information in, but you don't want to affect the short term. You don't want to teach too much. You don't want to change too much now because we're in a good place where we are. So the next major learnings, might take place in pre-season. So all that's on our mind is one game at a time now. 15 cup finals to get us where we want to get to. But what's the point of getting in those top 7 if you don't get promoted? There's no point. So it's always about promotion, not playoffs. Playoffs is a significant marker, as to say, okay, we've achieved something. We're in the right direction. But if you go out in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, you haven't achieved anything.